What's going on, everybody? Tyler Kenyon here with California Bass and Guide Service. Out here on Lake Berryessa today. I'm going to give you guys another lake report and fishing report. So the water temperature today started out at about 71 degrees and heated up to 73 as the day went on. The water clarity is about 10 feet out on the main lake and about 12 feet back up in the Narrows. As far as the fishing goes, it's still pretty tough out here. The fish are definitely starting to group up more. They're starting to push bait up on the flats. So if you're going to come out here anytime soon in the next week or so, I'd really focus in on the flats because those bigger fish are pushing the bait up. The bait is not as spread out as it was last week, but there still is a lot of bait in the water. So you're still competing with big balls of fish. If you could find the bait, the bass are more than likely to be schooling on them. I did notice I was fishing up in the flats in the willow trees earlier today, and I was on the inside grass line catching a bunch of little 10 to 14 inch fish, and they were eating real tiny bait, chasing that around in there. I went out to the outside edge of the grass line in about 10 feet of water, and I started getting a lot more quality bites, a lot of those more 2-3 pound bites. I had seen a couple really nice ones, lost a couple really nice ones. But those fish out on the outside edge of the grass flats are keying in on that little bit bigger bait. I'd say about 2.5 to 3 inch long shad. They're schooling up on those fish. The baits I've been throwing, when I was up shallow around the trees and the grass, I was throwing this swim jig. It's a Dirty Jigs California swim jig in a 1/2 ounce, a little River to Sea D Walker 100 on the back. Caught a couple fish on that today. I caught a couple fish flipping a 1/2 ounce. This is just the Dirty Jigs pitching jig. Caught a handful of fish on that today. Same thing, just back in the trees on the flats. The big player for me today, though, was that little mega bass Karashi. Just in a kind of a white, translucent white color. I couldn't even tell you how many fish I caught on this today, but I caught my biggest fish on it and I caught the most fish on it. I started out throwing a little tiny fluke, just nose hooked, and the fish were coming up slapping at it, not getting it, just following it. I put this little Karashi on, and first cast, we started catching them. I have that set up on a little BFS setup, little Corrado BFS reel, PAL light casting rod. You can also throw that on a spinning rod too, but I just decided to give that BFS a shot everybody's been talking about. Here's that little fluke I was throwing, just a little zoom, tiny fluke, nose hooked. And I got a couple on that, but they just weren't really committing to that. The Karashi seemed to be the ticket today. As far as the bite out deep, there wasn't much of one. I did catch a couple fish out on the rocks on a drop shot. Again, throwing a little shad imitator. I was throwing that 4-inch KVD Dream Shot in just in a shad color. Any little bait fish imitator would work. They're out on those points schooling, but like I said, the majority fish are pushing up on the flats, pushing the bait up in there, and that's, if you want to have a good day, you can go up and fish those flats. Now the whole flat, I caught fish out of the whole flats. I was fishing up there by the willow trees on the east side of the lake. The whole flat had fish on it. Those bigger fish were on the points of those flats, where the outside tree line kind of comes out, makes a point. They were sitting in about 12 feet of water off of those points. I got all my biggest fish, a lot of quality 2-3 pound fish off of the points on the flats today. As far as boat traffic goes, it is slowing down a little bit. I'm not sure what this weekend's going to be like because that temperature is supposed to be back up in the 90s again. But as far as this week, we had 3 days of cloudy, windy weather. Today is starting to get a little bit nicer, but So there's not as much traffic during the week, but I'm sure come Saturday, Sunday, there'll be quite a bit of boat traffic out there. So just make sure, if you don't want to deal with it, get off the water early. As far as the time of day, there's not really a change of the light bite. I was out here this morning. The change of light bite wasn't really happening for me. The topwater bite, I had a couple come up and miss it. But the best bite I had, like I said, was on the karashi, or that little tiny fluke, just twitching it real fast right below the surface, and they'd just come up and eat it. So it's a good time to get out here. The bite's starting to pick up. The weather's cooling off a little bit. We're getting those cooler nights. Putting jackets on in the morning for the ride out, and heating up throughout the day. The water temperature has dropped about 7 degrees in the last week. Those fish are just about full-blown fall feed, and they're after those bait fish. So it's a great time to come on out, and you'll catch a lot of fish, and there's a lot of big fish out here. If you're looking to book a trip, I'll be out here on Berryessa, as well as available for Clear Lake in the next upcoming weeks. Go ahead and just shoot me a call or send me a text at 707-334-4775. You can also email me at tylerkenyonfishing@gmail.com. We're working on our website, trying to get that up soon. That way you can just get on there, book a trip online, and you don't really got to talk to me if you don't want to. I'm also doing on the water lessons, so if there's something that you're struggling with technique wise, or you want to figure the offshore bite out, you want to learn how to throw a topwater, you want to learn how to flip, I'm doing on the water lessons as well. So just give me a call and we'll get it figured out. Have a good one.